Yes, thank you. Well, good morning, folks. This is a public information meeting, and it is about a development in District 8. Planning application is for a development agreement to convert a detached garage into a residential building at 10125 Highway 1. And our applicant is the Bernards, Jennifer and Werner. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
And to the public, we are continuing to do those public information meetings by virtually because of the uncertainty around gatherings. And we do hope that soon we can do them in person, but they seem to be working well, and that we do clarify what the application is all about. And the public does have an opportunity to provide comments by phone call to the planning officer or by emails. As counselor for the area, as I said, I get to host the meetings, and our planning staff is here, though the experts to explain the policies. They will explain a little bit about the application so that it is clear what the applicant's intentions are, and then explain the criteria that this application will be evaluated under. At this point in time, it's early in the game, as our planning officer, Jeremy, will explain later, Jeremy Lutz, and no decisions have been made, not even an evaluation, other than to ascertain that this is a legitimate application under the MPS. And so the whole purpose of the public information meeting is to allow the public, and particularly neighbors that might be impacted positively or negatively. We hope all things are positive, to provide comments and suggestions and questions. So at this point in time, I will turn it over to Jeremy Banks. I believe I said Jeremy Lutz earlier. It is Jeremy Banks. I have two Jeremys that I correspond with, Jeremy Lutz and Jeremy Banks. Jeremy Banks is our planning officer, and he will do a presentation of the project and the evaluation criteria and our policies and the like. To you, Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Councillor Windsor. I'll just share a bit of a slideshow here. There we go. This is a public information meeting regarding a development agreement for Jennifer and Werner Barnard at 10125 Highway 1, also known as PID, FAR 553-19412 in Greenwich. As Councillor Windsor mentioned, my name is Jeremy. I am the planner assigned to this file. And a brief agenda, as we've already started, is a welcome from Councillor Windsor with introductions. I'll do my presentation, and then there is an opportunity for the Barnards to present as well, and followed by a conclusion and adjournment from Councillor Windsor. The purpose of this meeting is to inform the public of the application, to explain the planning policies that enable this application to occur, and to receive preliminary feedback. As Councillor Windsor mentioned, no opinions have been formed on this application, and no decision will be made at this time. This application is for a development agreement to convert a detached garage into a second dwelling. The area's zoned country residential only permit one residential building with up to 2 units as of right, and a separate residential building is not currently allowed as of right in this zone. The property lies within Kings County in Greenwich, just between Wolfville and New Minas and Port Williams. And an air photo of the property shows that it is near the intersection of Highway 1 and 358. It is currently designated as agricultural land, and within agricultural land, it is zoned as a A4 country residential property, adjacent to a variety of different zones, as it is a rather diverse area. As I mentioned, country residential zones only permit one residential building with up to 2 units as of right. However, additional residential buildings can be permitted by a development agreement. And some of the policies that enable that include the Land Use Bylaw Policy 8.6.4 for country residential areas. Uses considered by development agreement are pursuant to the municipal planning strategy, but uses noted can be considered by development agreement within the country residential zone. That clustered housing developments consisting of grouped dwellings or low-rise dwellings in accordance with policy 3.4.33 of the municipal planning strategy are permitted. And that policy in the municipal planning strategy 3.4.33 states that council shall consider only by development agreement within the country residential A4 zone clustered housing developments. In evaluating such development agreements, council shall be satisfied that the proposal is on a lot with a minimum area for each proposed dwelling unit that is equal to or greater than the minimum lot size for a one-unit dwelling in the country residential A4 zone, and that it consists of a maximum of 8 residential units contained in either grouped dwellings or low-rise structures. That the cluster includes residential buildings, lawns, on-site services, and accessory structures are clustered together to reduce the impact in existing neighbor areas, to minimize the loss of productive agricultural lands, and to protect the sensitive natural features. And that the general development agreement criteria set out in section 5.3 development agreements and amending the land use bylaw are met. That municipal planning strategy policy 5.3 includes 5.36 that states council shall consider proposals to enter into a development agreement pursuant to sections of the Municipal Government Act on the terms and conditions set forth in this municipal planning strategy, and that a development agreement shall specify the development, expansion, alteration, or change permitted, specify the conditions under which the development may occur, and that the proposal is in keeping with the intent of the MPS. Council also considers the financial impact on the municipality, the land use compatibility, the adequacy and proximity of amenities such as schools and community facilities, the possible creation of traffic hazards or congestion, the adequacy of fire protection, the adequacy of sewer and water services, the potential for flooding or serious drainage problems, the negative impacts on well fields and other groundwater supplies, the potential for pollution or negative impacts on lake or wetlands, as well as neighboring farming operations, and of course the suitability of the site. This is just the first step in this process. We have received a complete application. We are currently doing a PIM, a public information meeting. There will be a staff review of this proposal and the comments that we receive between now and about 30 days from now, when this video when this public information period is over. Then there will be a staff review of the proposal, where we create a report and submit that, in this case, to the Planning Advisory Committee, as there is no AAC. Following that, there is a first reading by council, a public hearing, and a second reading by council, and the 14-day appeal period. This is, as Councillor Windsor mentioned, just the beginning of this process. And as part of this process, we will continue to notify properties within 500 feet. They'll be notified before the public hearing. And if you'd like to follow along with this proposal, you can view the minutes or attend the meetings at the Planning Advisory Committee or Council. And with that, my presentation is almost concluded. As I mentioned, if you do have comments, you can comment on this video on YouTube. You can email me, which is what a lot of people do, jbanks@countyofkings.ca, or just give me a ring. I'm in the office 8:30 to 4:30. And I do appreciate your comments and feedback. We do require people who want their comments to be made public to list their name and civic address. And with that, my presentation is complete.
Thank you, Jeremy. So Jennifer and Warner, we will give you an opportunity now, if you're so inclined, to add any further comments.
Thank you, Councillor Windsor, and thank you, Jeremy, and thank you to everybody for this consideration of our application. Yeah, we'd just like to add just some few basic comments that would give more clarity as to what we anticipate doing with the property. So very basically, we are seeking to convert the triple garage, which is attached, into an in-law suite. And so there will be minimal external construction work because the property is existing. Foundations are there. And so most of the work will be done inside the facility. We believe that there'll be minimal disruption of discomfort to the neighbors while we are doing the construction. We do believe that the construction will improve the aesthetics of the existing facility and the existing dwelling. And so we believe that will be beneficial to the outside view, as well as enhance the property value, and there go, enhance the valuation of the properties in the surrounds. We believe that doing this development, everything that Jeremy touched on in terms of the impact studies, that there will be little to no impact on the county and the neighbours in terms of all the elements that Jeremy mentioned in his presentation. So we do foresee that there will be little to no impact. So we really do request that this will be considered favourably, and we do thank you for the time taken to consider our application.
Thank you. And Jennifer, do you have anything to add, or it's all been said?
It's all been said.
Thank you. And to the public, as Jeremy noted, be sure to make your comments in writing or by phone call to Jeremy, and that information will be on the presentation. And also be sure to leave your phone number and your street address so that there can be dialogue back and forth as required. So if there's nothing further, then we will consider this public information meeting closed. So I hereby adjourn the meeting.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Have a good day further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.